You Just
Yo, what's up?
restart OBS.
Great
See
job.
what happens. Hello?
Hello.
All right, it works. Go.
Okay. We started the intro again. Welcome to Bubble Tea Time. I'm your host, Adam, aka Digital Feeling. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll be looking at the matches from last week, looking at highlights, and giving you our predictions for the following week. For the second time, welcoming our analyst, Brian, aka Decadonu, Colin, aka Zoidberg MD, and Daniel, aka Dan's. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, good to be back. Missed
What's
you guys.
up?
Thanks
Happy
for
to be
having
here.
us. It's great.
Colin, after 1 week hiatus, returns to us. We really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have our special guest this week from Second Breakfast, Zane, aka Fire Knight 19 Heart.
How's it going, everybody?
It's good, man.
Wonderful.
Oh, good to be here. Excited for the show.
Zane, you're looking quite snazzy.
I try. Gotta be clean for the camera, you know.
If it can't be clean
Well-
for the game, may as well be for the camera.
Exactly. If I
Oh.
am number one in one thing,
What?
it is being dead the most and looking the best.
Exactly. What does the 19 stand for? What's the?
So I was
He
like
was born
super
in
young.
2019.
That's it. That's it.
Damn, dude. I am a terrible looking 1-year-old, but I was like, man, born in the 90s, but not just any 90s, the 1990s. And I figure one day that's going to be a big deal. Like, they'd be
Wow,
like,
really?
you were
I was
born.
thinking 1890s.
Good.
Oh.
Damn, I don't
Good.
look that bad. But anyway, 19, it's a lucky number. I don't know.
Good enough.
For those of us out there on Twitch, you can go ahead and submit your questions for after the predictions. We'll give it over to Fire Knight or to the rest of our analysts. And right after that, let's go right into our games. First up being Nutter Butter Scuttlers versus Second Breakfast. Nutter Butter Scuttlers taking the win, but let's go ahead and take a look at that clip.
What?
Yeah, I think this game, what really set forth was the unpredicted swap by Nutter Butter Scholars between Chilwang and Limch 96, right? Yes, 96. Got his name.
God, that cast is sexy. I don't know who that cast is, but whew.
Seems like
Yeah,
a
it hurt.
huge improvement from the last time you played Cast.
Get him.
It's no Moo pick, though.
It's
It
no
is no
Mumu pick,
Mumu
that's for sure.
Oh, but
That never happened.
still.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah. It was a good game. It was a nice confidence boost. We had had some practices that had gone really well. We did a team scrim right before that with just us playing in flex queue. It did not go well. So carried that negative energy over into the game, and turned two negatives into a positive, and won the game.
There you go.
Zane, it looked like you had a little bit of trouble this week. What are you gonna try to do for the next coming weeks? Or what have you learned from this MBS versus Second Breakfast game? Is it probably a better
I
question?
would definitely say I really want to just get more skill going in the bot lane. I really want to play more games with my support Mooney. It's never easy to schedule up. I don't know. I feel like the solo laners, you just play by yourself, but when there's two people involved, you gotta be there for both people. So I think this week I'm gonna really try to like schedule up with Mooney and get some practice games in so we can get more of a vibe for each other's play styles, and hopefully we'll live more and kill more.
There we go.
Yeah, seems like a good strategy. Live more, kill more.
Exactly.
100 Thieves
Absolutely.
should have had that strategy today.
Get 'em.
Colin, can we get a little comment about Limch and how they're meshing with the team? How's everything going?
It is nice to have a top laner. For the first this was game 6 for us. So for the first 5 weeks, we didn't have a top laner. So it's pretty nice to have somebody that can step in, even if they're not going to play top for us. it is nice to actually have like a fifth member to like push back a little bit on like some of the ideas that we were rolling with, and like show like has a very strong personality and is very helpful in guiding our team and helping build a cohesive unit that we just quite frankly were not a cohesive unit. So it's been really helpful.
Very awesome. Let's go ahead and get into our second matchup, which is the Good Boys versus Executive Order with a Good Boys win. And start off. Start off.
Woof woof indeed.
Whew.
Good boys, woof woof.
Yeah, this game was a lot of Steven popping off again on the Zed,
hmm
and definitely taking it to his former teammate Captain Javier in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think that was it was a statement game of don't mess with me, Javier. Coming for you. No, I mean Steven's really good. He's gonna have those games where he does hard carry. It's gonna be definitely like, especially come playoffs. Like I think it's gonna be really important to make sure like that to not let him hard carry those games, because he's gonna have a few pop offs, and if he does have a pop off, it's gonna be really important to move on very quickly and refocus so you don't let it happen again.
Good to know.
Yeah, I mean,
Trying to
I don't think
predict for your
that's a
next
secret,
game?
right? Like he's good, man. Like
I mean, he is very solid. Every game I play with him, he's just always on top of objectives. He just plays clean.
yeah, he's for sure a win condition for them.
Yep.
Seems
Oh, I think Adam is. I think we've lost Adam again.
Oh no.
I don't
Yep.
know. Is his mic,
Our-
his headset's busted?
Yeah,
our
I think we've
loving
lost Adam
host
again.
is
So
having
we
technical
should move on to the
difficulties.
next game.
yeah.
All right.
What's the next game? So next game is Milwaukee Bucks baby versus Panic in Our Oceans, with a Panic in Our Oceans victory. Let's roll the clip.
Oh man, this was a Vladimir that got really,
Oh,
really big.
yeah.
Ooh.
Here it
But
comes.
this is Teddy surprising everybody with the thresh pick, canceling the Kate ult. It's
Yeah,
just
being frontline for his team.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just say, wait, I can flash hook here. I'm gonna take it. You guys better follow through. And his team does.
And the Pike
Yeah.
tries to pop off, but just can't do it.
Amory was going off that game too, so nice bounce back game from her. The season's been up and down a little bit for her. This is definitely one of the ups, and maybe the start of a trend.
Yeah, I mean, when she pops off, she is a hard carry. Like she is one of the best ADCs in the league for sure when she gets going. So if she's on that upward trend, it's going to be look out. She's really strong. As a former teammate,
Can y'all guys hear me again?
we
Yes.
can.
Welcome back, Adam.
Just to point out, we did all predict last week that Milwaukee Bucks baby was gonna win. What do you think it really switched that up for them? Like, what were some of the bigger factors that were unexpected that changed from your previous predictions to what actually unfolded?
I was not expecting Nathan to get as big as he did. Comparatively to the rest of the MBB team, he pretty much was split pushing the entire game, and eventually nothing could really stop him.
I think, in a way, like MBB has trouble right now, like accelerating games to the point where they can like close out fully. Against a team like PIO, it's a little dangerous. Because they have so many people that really like to play the late game. Like Nathan loves to play the late game. Amory loves to play the late game. They like taking the game as long as they can, and then like winning out in the end with like pure skill and their picks, etc. If this game went late with Sivir and Vladimir, it was kind of like that's all she wrote. So like MVP, they had some stumbling blocks in the mid game and weren't really able to convert on their advantages, because I think in the early game Nick Mead was up on Amory like 30 something CS the whole lane phase. And it was a push advantage too. It was just everything they ever could have wanted in the bot lane. And Elena really tried to push it on the map, but I think like in terms of like the team effort and like some of the fights they took, they weren't the optimal fights. And I think if MBB goes back to the drawing board, they'll be looking at ways to make sure that their mid game is more stable and they're able to like find the opportunities they need to find in the windows they have.
Okay.
Oh, very awesome. Let's take a look at the next game, which is Deep Dive versus the Student Council, which I was not a part of. So very exciting for me to get a free win.
Oh, that's right.
Let's see
Technical
Student Council with the substitute of Omar, I believe, correct?
Yes. Mr. Captain OG.
Captain OG.
Gotta love Omar.
And
The
let's get
OG
this
rigger.
clip rolling.
Yeah, and overall, I think this was Man Puppet hard carrying the early game, bridging
Right.
his
Oh, yeah.
team to snowball out of control, particularly in the top lane with Probe the Warrior on the Fiora, getting him ahead, turning around what looked to be a losing fight, and then saying, "All right, buddy, you got this now."
Hand over the reins. I'll take it from here.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Yeah,
And
the
even-
Fiora Lulu comp is pretty
Yeah.
obnoxious at this point in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, once
If
you
she
get to
has
this
any-
point.
Yep, if Fiora has any sort of strength.
Yeah.
Just tank tower for years.
Yeah, Lulu shields and speed ups for an assassin, a fed assassin
think-
in the top lane is
Yeah, I'm
hard.
really happy with TSC. I've literally said from the start they're the best 0-2 team. They're like a top half team. It just doesn't look like it right now. The record doesn't look like it, but they look like it. And they're finally putting it together. I think they figured out, hey, this is what our players play. And like we've been playing these champions, but we haven't been able to put it together. But now that we're finally putting it together, they're building comps around like those champions. They're building comps around those champions as win conditions. So instead of just like slotting in a random Jax or something like that, they build a comp around like that Jax pick in general. Like even Fiora here, like ended up team fighting a lot more than she ended up splitting, but they had the Lulu to facilitate that. And they're starting to get more clever with using the pieces that they have. So I think they're a top 4 team, like straight up. And I think like they'll continue to get better and better.
Zane, you seem to have some comments there.
No, I'm just like top 4. Who is? I mean, we got Acid Rabbits at numero uno, undefeated. Then we have sorry,
True Heart
scroll down
Destiny.
a little bit. True Heart Destiny, Panic and Roast, and the Milwaukee Bucks. So, like, wouldn't you just think off the bat like that's our top 4, like period?
I don't think so. I think personally, I think Acid Rabbits and THD are definitely in the top 4, and then I think GB and TSC fill out the top 4.
I
I think
agree with that.
PO has some versatility issues, and some stability issues they'll need to like fully fix up before playoffs. And then MBB is just having trouble closing out games. To be honest, like until they can find consistent ways to close out, they're gonna have a lot of trouble against teams that like PO that have like late game scaling options or like I don't know, like THD where like their team fighting or our team fighting is like a lot of our focus and stuff like that. Until they understand how to like really
Finish up.
just take over and like snowball leads because they gain leads. Like Elena has won every single bot lane that they've played. Nick, me and Elena have just run over every bot lane they've played, including the Emery bot lane. But they've never been able to convert, or not never, but like in the games they've lost, they haven't been able to convert that to a game win. They haven't been able to convert that to like vision control leading to like a favorable fight.
Right.
And so I think like they'll really need to fix that up before they're considered like a top echelon team again.
All right.
Mm.
Good
Uh,
reasonings.
Let's go ahead and go ahead to our premier matchup, which was Acid Rabbits versus True Heart Destiny with an Acid Rabbits win. Let's get an outsider's perspective first with either Zane or Colin, if one of y'all want to take the reins on that.
Yeah, I mean, like it's gonna be interesting. I thought it was a really close game.
It was
I
a
think
long match.
Yeah, I think it could have gone either way. I think these are clearly the 2 best teams in the league right now. Whether they stay that way throughout the rest of the season is to be seen. But I think they're clearly the two best teams, and it's going to be really interesting to see if that's going to change in the playoffs. But they had a really close match, and either one could have won, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. I'd agree with that. Like Acid Rabbits, they're just solid. I mean, you don't get to go 6-0, you know, off the top of that last fight. Like everything counted. Every kill was, pushing everything to its limits. And I feel like, at the end of the day, it could have gone other way, and Acid Rabbits won out at the end.
Let's go ahead and roll the clip for this game.
Yeah, and this was, you can see the nature of the compositions as they were. Acid Rabbits had a pretty beefy front line with Leona and Sejuani, and
Yeah.
it was generally really hard to get through. And they played their comp well. I think Follow the Wind was getting a lot of pressure on the split push with Jax, and a lot of times we would just get picked off because of CC lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's what I look at when I see that comp. Like that is so much CC and peel back as well. Like Sejuani, Veigar, Leona, Jax has a stun. Like everybody's keeping you off of everybody. Veigar is going to one shot your carries later into the game while also being able to peel everybody away from himself, and that's a really tough comp to play into.
Yeah, we built around it, but like, just like honestly speaking, our Olaf wasn't big enough to be the backline threat that like our comp required him to be. And like that's like where we really fell down. We had a lot of advantages in the early game. We opened up like really strong.
Mhm.
We got the first blood on Sejuani on tracking, and like we just kind of like made a lot of stumbling blocks along the way. And the top side river where we overdove, and the bot side river where we took like a gank that we didn't have full pressure for. Yeah, I think like yeah, we really had like our handle on the game, and we kind of like lost it as the game went on. And so I think if you were to typify Acid Rabbits in like a sentence, it's kind of like what you said, Zane, where I think they're solid. Like it's a team that doesn't have very many holes, and they don't really do that many mistakes, but they're also not a very proactive team, I don't think.
Mhm.
They're
And so
Team
like
Liquid.
yeah, pretty much. So I think for us, like, we got a lot of good things out of that game. I think we were the more proactive parties, and some of that, like, what ended up losing us the game was because it bit us in the butt. Like, we made some proactive moves that we didn't have like the lane pressure for. But I'm interested to see what other teams will do there, because like, yeah, like as a team, we made a lot more mistakes, and that's why we ended up losing the game. But we also forced the action a lot more effectively. So I'm curious how other teams will like use what they learned from the match that we had versus Acid Rabbits, and see if like they can find out, chinks in their armor.
Awesome. I'm ready for round 2. Like, we lost in the very first game, and I'm ready to get back in there. Maybe we can take them down.
Yeah,
I
I'm ready to face them. Maybe I'm not going to pick a Mumu this time.
Mhm. Well,
Nobody will ever. No.
Let's go ahead and get right into predictions, and we have a little bit more spotty and mixed sort of set right here, with no full commitments to one team or another, except for almost one. But let's look at the first matchup, which is EXO versus Deep Dive. And Zane, why don't you make a case for the EXO team?
That one I was really just kind of like toss in the air. I feel like, out of the two, Executive Order, they're a pretty solid group of people, like individually. So I feel like once they get like more togetherness in their playstyles, I'm really hoping that they can push it out. Deep Dive is very solid too. Like nothing against anyone on that team, but I don't know. I really just feel like between the two, I'm tilted slightly in the balance of Executive Order pulling out the win.
I'll be a little bit more in depth. I think so. I think the teams are pretty close actually, and I think this game is going to be pretty close. The thing that I use to tip the scales in EXO's favor is what I call the randomness factor, which is basically just Javier. Like, what is he gonna play? because nobody knows. And if he pulls something out that like really works and throws you off, like that's gonna win you a game against a close team, against a close matchup. And I think that's what's gonna happen here. Is he's just gonna it's gonna be the Javier randomness factor, and he'll be able to pull it out.
Yeah, maybe coin flip will land on heads.
Yep, that's. I
Right.
mean, honestly, like it's Huni. Javier is Huni, and we just gotta let it go. See what
Right.
happens.
Yeah, I voted for Deep Dive. I also agree with you. I think this game is close. And the records show it right now. I think Deep Dive still hasn't fully figured out how to be less one-dimensional. They're still a pretty one-dimensional team. They've kind of tried to change their picks, make them, less one-dimensional. But it hasn't really happened yet. And I feel like until they have like legitimate carry threats from like their solo lanes or threats like their solo lanes are able to like push action faster and accelerate the game state, Deep Dive is going to struggle. That said, I don't know if even if they commit to like one-dimensional play against EXO, I don't know if EXO really has a grasp on how to stop it right now. I think in some of EXO's games, like they're definitely competitive and they definitely look like they'll fight you, and they're willing to do so. And I think Slippers is like willing to they've been really trying to swing like fights in their favor, and I think that they have a good chance. On the same token, like if Limestone gets off at the ground and like starts going, like I don't know if EXO has an answer, and I don't know if Javier even has picks that do have like those kind of answers. So I don't know. Maybe for me, it's EXO is still a big question mark. Like their logo shouldn't be that like dude with an X like with knives and shit everywhere. It should just be a gigantic question mark. I don't know what they'll do on game day. They had like the most like in their win against PO, they had the most traditional draft I've ever seen from that team, where they just had an XR bot lane. Even the Mordekaiser mid isn't like out of this world or anything.
Mhm.
But then like some of their games before that have been kind of off the wall. So I'm just kind of curious and want to see like how they can game plan against Deep Dive to like really like upend them if like that's what they're trying to do.
And for me, we saw some inklings of a change in dynamic for Deep Dive. Aurochs was on the Yorick, and there were times where he was doing Yorick things. He was gaining pressure on side lanes. There was a point where his team was contesting a Herald, and he just kept going bot lane and got all the way down to inhibitor turret. So I think if they can keep replicating that style, I don't know if EXO will be able to respond to a split threat like that.
With this next game, Milwaukee Bucks baby versus NBS, we which with our predictions, we only have one. Brian choosing MBB. Let's start off with Jans. What's your reasoning for choosing MBS here?
Well, I think their match against Second Breakfast really was a statement game of, hey, we're here and we're actually coming for the top. They've been really, really strong. Like in that specific match was one of their most dominant wins for sure. And their new, yeah. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for pointing it out.
We have
One of
we have
two.
2 wins.
Yes, and the biggest thing is that Aaron Lynch 96 looks pretty solid and a nice shoe in for the team.
Yeah, it's definitely a change. We feel pretty confident now. We're excited to move forward and continue building on that win, and we feel we had some really good conversations afterwards, and yeah, looking forward to playing more.
If we're
Brian,
indexing on the sorry.
No, go.
If you're indexing on the dance stats corner, Limch 96 actually is currently the league leader in one game. So it's a 1 game sample size, unlike the rest of ours. But in 1 game, he's the league leader in damage per minute. So definitely a big statement game.
Yeah, he
and
pumped
big
out a
debut on the
lot
stage.
of damage in that game. I think it was
Yeah, for
36k.
Something like that. He had like 1036 damage per minute or something like that. So
Yeah.
big number. Yeah, I think their team is definitely on the rise. This roster change offers them stability, which they haven't had, and offers them honestly a carry. Like they haven't had a consistent carry on that team in any game. And this game was the first where like Will looks comfortable on the side lane finally, and
Yeah.
Limsh Darren just did a lot of damage. Like I think MBS is on the up, and honestly, I would have voted for them. But Elena's in this room, and I, like sleeping in my bed. So like,
Gotta
I
play
was,
the
my
support
hands are
role.
tied. My hands are tied. But for the MBB side, the argument is like, I think they're hungry, and honestly, they have the pieces. And we said this about TSC at the start of the season. Like TSC has the pieces, they just haven't figured out how to put them together. And now that they've put them together, they're like taking. MBB started off strong because like I think honestly like a lot of teams hadn't like fully built up like teamwork and stuff, and MBB kind of like had a little bit of a leg up over most teams. But now that it's like they've had like a couple of those grumblings, they've kind of like haven't been able to close out. They've been falling apart a little bit. But I think like in terms of like talent and stuff like that, they've got a lot of tools. Like Nick Mead's been good this season. Elena in the last game against what was it? Pio? Elena was like really good. Like Amory after the game, Bananas after the game said anything in the early game that we were scared of was all related to Elena. Anything after the early game that we were scared of was all because of Elena. I think if Elena can find her openings, and she can do it on a lot of different champions, this team will always be a threat. She won BTL last season because she was such a dominant threat from the bot lane. And I think like if she can make sure like she keeps herself in check and make sure she finds good engages, and the rest of her team not only follow engages but also aggressive enough to like make sure they have openings to fight on. I think that team is a strong team too, and not a team that should be underestimated because they've lost a couple in a row.
I do want to call out Kiwi for this last game. She had 25 assists. I think she had the highest kill participation in our game. She was a monster on that Lux.
Yeah.
Very awesome. Let's go on to the next game, which is going to be Aster Rabbits versus the Good Boys. And I'm sure the Aster Rabbits aren't happy about seeing so many Good Boys
Yeah,
picked.
upset. Oh.
Let's go ahead and start off with Colin. Make the case for the.
I don't
What
think
would-
I need to make a case, right? Like they're undefeated. I think I'm just gonna let I think I'm just gonna let it rest. Like they're undefeated, and I'm the only person that picked them. It feels like the other analysts are throwing here. Like this is the week where I catch them both, and I'm tied for the lead. Like, what are you guys
I'd
doing?
Be the only one. I thought I'd be the only one picking GB, so I didn't see that coming either, to be honest.
I kept going back
think
and
GB
forth.
is on the rise. Yeah, GB is on the rise. Playing Acid Rabbits, I think they're a good team. And like they definitely outplayed us. Like they made very few mistakes, but I think their lack of proactivity is going to hurt them in the long run. GB is a more proactive team that also make a lot of mistakes, like us on THD. I think if GB can learn from our game though, they can break Acid Rabbits. So I don't know. I think like if you compare like Acid Rabbits to TL or something like that, like it really just takes like a shove, and then like once you figured out a team, like that's it. And I think like for us, like when we were playing Acid Rabbits, we were like like we understand like what they've been doing, and we understand like why like they're winning a lot, and that's great. Like, and I see why it's happening, but I also am like, okay, like I know how to beat this team. And I think like Good Boys, if they like really understand that, can bring it home. On the other hand, I mean, they're undefeated for a reason. I thought I was going to be the only one voting Good Boys, and like a lot of that is just on like Steven Faith or something. I don't know, but like, yeah, I mean, like they should be considered. Like Good Boys should be considered the underdog in this matchup. So if I had known you guys are all going to vote Good Boys too, I probably would have voted Acid Rabbits.
No, I mean, I believe in the underdogs. I want every team to have that. What's the hockey movie where the underdog team beats the other?
Every
team?
hockey movie,
Every
sports
hockey
movie.
movie,
Yeah,
but
all of
I'm
them.
just gonna go with the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, the Mighty Ducks. I want everybody to be the Mighty Ducks. I want the underdogs to win, because who doesn't like rooting for the underdogs, right? It's fun. Because if they do pull off a win, you're just like, woo! Exactly.
No, gamblers love the underdog. What?
Dude, absolutely. You don't make $1,000 on a $100 bet by bidding $100 on the winning team. Everybody does that. You bet $100 on the losing team. When they win, you win big.
This is a gambling advice corner from Zane. But let's go.
Terrible gambler. Bad idea.
Well, apparently you are, because the next matchup we have PIO versus Second Breakfast, and you were the only one who voted for Second Breakfast, with the rest of us voting for PIO.
once again, we're the underdogs. And honestly, not last week game, but the week one where we miraculously won when everyone was like FF, GG, Redunzo, you're gonna have to win like 10 team fights, and we did it. And I think we can pull it off again. Hopefully, it won't be quite the struggle as last game, but I don't know. I feel like our team is really coming together. We're actually doing scrims now and trying to get as many of them done as we can. Uh, been playing with Brian, Adam. So you guys have seen the work. We're putting in the hours. So hopefully it'll turn into something of a victory, and we can turn that 2-4 into a 3-4, and just keep on climbing that momentum.
Keep
Uh,
on taking.
to go on the support train, not drunk Teddy from PIO, I think is becoming one of the biggest factors of why I think PIO is going to really win. Just being able to, with Anne Marie's steadiness, Teddy's been
Mhm.
able to make some moves in the bot lane. I think that's where they're going to strike out. What did the analysts think?
Teddy's a good teammate.
Um,
Like he's always a good teammate.
Yeah.
I think he'll do what he needs to do and what his team asks of him. So like I don't know. He's like
Yeah.
part of the fold. I think like Teddy being good is great. But I think you can always count Teddy to be at the very least serviceable. So I think being good is just a natural extension of that. I think the team's fate really relies around like Amberlin and Nikolai, of course. Nikolai's been on a hot streak though, and like that's
Yeah.
one reason PO's been winning. If Nikolai can continue it, that team is dangerous. Because Nathan and Anne-Marie, like that two core carry combo is pretty nuts. So if Nikolai can actually like bridge them there, PO is really formidable. And like, I'd say, yeah, like if that's the case, and if Nikolai shows like one or two more games of consistent mid lane dominance, then I think then they're a top 4, top 3 team again.
Additionally, with talking about Teddy, I think he's one of the most proactive members on that team. He's looking for plays, and when he gets permission from the rest of the team to go loose and wild, he's gonna surprise everybody.
Yep.
Also, quick shout out to Nikolai just to back on that with some amazing, just really amazing plays. Like some of the best and most exciting that made the entire Discord just get really hyped up.
And
really,
then get caster
really
cursed
amazing.
immediately by his friend Adam.
Yeah, that definitely does happen. Caster
Oh,
curses
that-
will.
That was that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
One death. Oof.
But for our last game, we have True Art Destiny versus the Student Council, with myself and Zane having confidence in the true winners, and then the rest of y'all choosing for True Art Destiny. Let's go ahead and Zane. What do you think the Student Council is going to win this one?
So I was looking at the standings of 3 for 3, and I think they could bring it into the 4 for 3, especially with True Heart Destiny's 1 loss. I think they can carry it through. As far as players go, I'm trying to remember who is actually in
Student council.
in,
Do you
in
need the
the
Student
list?
Student Council.
Adam,
Yeah.
digital feet. Adam is, I believe.
Yes, it's me,
Yeah.
PJ,
Yep.
Juan, Jenny, and Angela, which are Plobe, Man Puppet, Resco Trug, and
Okay.
Problems. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would definitely. I don't know. I feel like I play a lot with you, digital, Adam, and I think you're a solid player. Like you just know what to do, and you can direct people. I feel
Mm.
because you
He
direct
looks
me like
skeptical
all
at
the
this.
time.
I'm skeptical because of Rasco Trug and
If-
Juan and PJ.
Yeah, Raskachuk's the
If the student
Eye in the
council is
sky.
gonna win, it is gonna be on the back of Ginny. Like Ginny is a master planner, and like the team is on the up and up. Don't get me wrong. I do think they can win, but like we need to give credit to Ginny for that. Like Ginny is a beast.
yeah, for sure.
It's a
All right,
Go ahead.
hop on.
no, Ryan, go.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, like, Jenny's been their most consistent player. Man Puppet's been really, really good too. But like, yeah, Jenny's been consistent every game throughout all the games. And like as they put stuff together, like it kind of pains me as like I feel like Adam. I feel like you would agree that I've been the main TSC cheerleader on the analyst desk the whole time. It kind of pains me to say that we're gonna crush you this week, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I do want to take
we'll see.
I do want to take a little bit of the other side here. So the student council has this player on their team, or not the student council. I'm sorry. The True Heart Destiny has a player on their team who's their mid laner, and I don't know if you guys know who this is. It's Deku Donu, and if you think that they are not practicing every goddamn day since that loss and like burning it into their souls that they're not going to lose again, y'all are wrong. It's not going to be this week. Like, they may lose again, but it's definitely not this week.
All right, we're
Coming
we're
back
gonna
with a
hope so.
vengeance.
Hope not. But I think
I-
TSC is a really formidable team. So like,
Yes,
I
I
think-
also think TSC is good.
if you don't count Livch in his 1 game sample size, the 2 damage per minute leaders are actually in this game. Myself and Adam, so also on the analyst desk. So I think this game will be a bloody one in terms of like, I'm sure like in terms of like kills per minute for the whole team. Like our 2 teams probably have like a tremendous amount of like the actual like action in VTO. I think like our kills per minute has got to be pretty insane between these 2 teams. So yeah, I think it'll be action packed. It'll be bloody, and it'll probably go late. And yeah, we'll see. Like in the end, I think like the team that executes better and like can like set up their compositions better will probably take home the gold.
As our
it-
local
it-
meme goes, Adam Diff.
Adam Diff, yeah.
Adam Dip. Absolutely. Before we get to our questions, and I believe we're only going to have time for a couple, we're going to toss it to Brian to show us how the playoffs are going to look like.
Sure thing. Let's fly the graphic. All right, so this is pretty similar to my playoff or my LCS playoff format. If you haven't noticed, the LCS playoff format in many ways was designed to offer more opportunities to teams to play through playoffs. Regardless if you agree with that or not, or if I agree with that or not. Anyways, this
guess.
format has 10 teams. We want every team to be able to play best of 3s. On the other hand, we also want people to have an incentive for the regular season, and luckily or unluckily in COVID times, we have a lot of time on our hands, relatively speaking. So with that said, obviously this format is pretty chunky. If you have eyes, you can probably tell that. We'll just walk through where the seeds land. There are 10 seeds for 10 teams. The first 2 seeds are seeded in B1 and B2, which is on the top half of the bracket in the winner's bracket. They get a bye through the first round, and they also get to pick whoever wins from A1 and A2 as their opponent. And speaking of A1 and A2, those teams in A1 and A2 are seeded automatically from 3 through 6. They're played as 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. If you're not in the top 6, so the top 60 percentile of the league, and you're in the bottom 40 percentile of the league, you still have a chance. You can still run your way all the way to the end of the bracket. It'll just take quite the journey to do so. You'll first have to play
Gauntlet
in
run.
B1 and B2, which are essentially the wildcard matches. And then once you blast your way past that series, you'll go to W1, W2, and you'll face the losers of A1 and A2. And then essentially from there on, it's a pretty typical double elim all the way to the end. There is no bracket reset in the last match of VTL. If you lose in C1, come back and win in D1, there is no run back. I think it just takes away the excitement of it. And if you're super concerned about competitive integrity in VTL in that sense, like, I don't know what to tell you. We don't even do it for VTL, so you get fucked. But I think like in terms of if you're in the top 60 percentile, you have 2 chances. If you're in the bottom 40 percentile, you have 1 chance. So make it or break it. I think
Do not miss your chance to glow.
You got
This
one
opportunity
shot.
comes once in a lifetime.
if teams we've I already sent this out to the council for feedback, and we actually got less than I would hope we had gotten. Obviously, most of our asks were on length, like, hey, how do you feel about length? Are there any suggestions to shorten it, etc.? So if you do have any suggestions or any pieces of feedback that aren't like, oh my god, it's long, like no shit, it's long, we're asking you what you would do about it. Or like, oh my god, it requires 10 teams. I'm like, yeah, but I want it to be 10 teams because I said so, so get fucked. Like, there are certain pieces that we probably won't budge on, but then there are other pieces that we definitely want a lot of feedback on, and we want to see if people have like good ideas on how to cut it down without say sacrificing 10 teams in playoffs, playing best of threes, or
Right.
making a format that isn't very like like there are formats theoretically where I could seed the first seed all the way to the end. I could do that, but it probably isn't very engaging for that first seed, and it probably like ices them so hard that they can't really play to the best of their ability by the end. So
Yeah, they'd
Yeah,
be ice
take a look.
cold. They wouldn't be warm.
Yep, we'll post this in BTL announcements. Take a look. We're just gonna give a small window for feedback. So if you guys have anything, go ahead. Yeah, and hopefully, if we run with this, it'll be a banger of a playoffs, and it'll be very long. But hopefully, by the end, you feel like you've kind of like run the gauntlet of best of threes.
Oh, it'll be a blast, no matter what happens, for sure.
Mhm. Lots of content for us
And-
to enjoy.
You were saying, 10 teams. I know the Bubble Tea League. This is our 3rd or 4th year going on. I hear some say 2016, some say 2017 is like the first time. I'm a rookie, first timer. So how long has the BTL League been a thing?
When did we do this, Elena? 2018, early.
I mean, this
2018? I
is
don't know.
season 5 though, right?
Yeah, season
Well,
5.
according to that, it was
Well,
season
it's not
6.
a
Oh, it's
yearly
season-
thing. It's not a yearly thing. So I think it's a
Oh,
biannual thing.
okay. So it's okay. Gotcha.
We're gonna go move on to our questions. We're actually just gonna have one due to time, and this is gonna be for those who watch the LCS. Do you have teams in the BTL that resemble or remind you of teams in the LCS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we already said AR was TL.
Yep.
I would agree with that. I think they're like a stable team that is like solid from top to bottom, and they kind of like, they just kind of like play their game and capitalize on other people's mistakes, and they do it very well. I think THD like on a, I guess a conceded note, maybe not because they've been losing so much at the end of the season. We're probably Cloud9. We're really
Yep.
aggressive. We hyper dive
Agree
turrets all
with
the
that.
time, and we like make dives in your jungle. We play around as if we had like full confidence that we'll always win any fight ever. And so like I think that's kind of how THD functions. And sometimes we don't. Apparently in our last game for sure, you guys saw that. But a lot of times it works. So I think we're probably like the C9 of LCS or BTO.
I think the good boys are TSM. I think Steven is the Bjergsen.
Jason.
Bjergsen.
that.
He's gonna do what he
You're
can.
Sure they're not the 100 Thieves and Steven's
Yes.
not someday.
Yes, I'm
Because-
sure. I'm gonna give him a little bit more credit than that. I'm gonna give him a little bit more credit. No, I think it's TSM. I think they're TSM. I think Milwaukee Bucks baby are the either FlyQuest or Evil Geniuses. I'm not sure, but one of those two teams.
I would say EG.
Yeah, it's a EG.
You think EG?
Yeah.
All right.
That-
So there's my 2
I don't
contributions.
know.
Where else we going? So we got
I don't
what?
know. Maybe Milwaukee Bucks baby is like a Dignitas that isn't as bad. They've got the
Man.
strong bot side, and they just kind of have to put it together in their solos.
I would put TSC as Golden Guardians, stepping up towards the end of the season. And I would say,
Yeah, I could get behind
you know,
that.
it's too-
Poser,
it's
baby.
too
Man
easy to
puppet
say-
poser. Can't even tell the difference.
it's too easy to say Panic in our Ocean is FlyQuest.
What
Environmental
about
friendly teams.
MBS? Where do you guys think we are?
I mean, maybe Panic on Our Oceans is actually 100 then. And
Yeah.
Nathan's just someday in the top lane, waiting, biding his time.
There you go.
You know, I can vote for that. Let's see, NBS.
MBS is Immortals because they just revamped the roster and now they. slightly better.
Oh, damn. All right.
But they're
All
still
right.
losing. They still have a losing record, so.
What
Yeah,
was the-
revolving door roster equals Immortals, baby.
Oh,
Never a good
God,
thing.
yes.
All right, well, let's go
What
ahead and
XO? Oh God, are we gonna make? Wait, it's XO. I don't even. Are they CLG? Oh no, I'm so.
Which one is
I think
CLG?
Extra CLG.
no,
Javier's got that
No.
he's got that Pope.
Oh.
I believe
Oh no, not like this.
What's deep dive then?
deep dive? What other teams are even left?
Mhm.
we technically
we hit them
said
all already. Did you double
EG
down on team?
EG FlyQuest.
We haven't-
left.
Yeah.
You can
wait,
totally
then
double down.
Maybe okay, no, then maybe deep dive is actually Dignitas. The revolving around only their pot lane. Yeah, maybe they're actually Dignitas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's
okay.
second breakfast then?
God,
Oh,
there's too
who
many teams with
knows?
Whoever's
flag.
left.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Maybe
honestly.
FlyQuest. Santorin's had a monster year this year.
Who's the best
True.
top laner? Like, just give us that team, and like we'll just carry the Flash on us.
Oh.
Oh, the Great Flash.
I don't know. It's either that or whoever team has like a solid mid laner who just does whatever he wants to do.
Mhm.
That's Yo Betty White for you.
R.I.P. Froggen.
Do what he wants to do, and he does it well.
Hmm. Well, let's go ahead and go to the standings.
Oh boy.
And then we have Aster Rabbits 6-0 as the undefeated team. True Heart Destiny with 5-1. Pangdor Oceans at 4-2. Milwaukee Bucks, Good Boys, and Student Council at 3-3. Second Breakfast and Nutter Butter Scuttlers at 2-4. And then Deep Dive and Executive Order at 1-5. It's looking a little bit more separated, but there's a lot of teams, especially I think it's really deceptive that Deep Dive is 1-5. I definitely think they're on the up, but let's go ahead
Yeah.
and get.
Oh, sorry. Teams
No, no.
have been really close, and like the games have been pretty hard fought among all teams. And like EXO's had like EXO and Deep Dive both, even at 1-5 had like pretty hard fought losses against teams that like could have swung. So I don't know. I think they'll be in a good position to like. I mean, I guess this week is the show match to find who the bottom of the barrel is. Sorry to whoever that is. But like I think both teams have a lot of potential to do things, and like they just have to fix a couple spots here and there, and then it'll be like a team like TSC where they put the pieces together and something clicks. So they just need that click.
Hey, I actually do have a question that is not planned. What is the tiebreaker scenarios? Because like we could, in theory, have a decent amount.
Yeah, so the first tiebreaker, if it's a two-way tiebreaker, it'll definitely be head-to-head. We've also outlined some of the tiebreakers scenarios in the document itself. So if you want to check the rule set, you can do so. I do believe that we go to like we do have like average game time and stuff like that, or average victory time conditions, all that stuff, because we don't necessarily, considering how large our playoff format is, we don't want to be spending a ton of time doing tiebreakers too and then playoff format.
Sure.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
since we're doing a single round robin, most of the ties, especially in two-way ties, will be broken by head-to-head.
All right, let's go ahead and get to our schedule. And that's going to be on Monday. It's going to be EXO versus Deep Dive. Tuesday, we're going to have True Heart Destiny versus TSC. Wednesday, we're going to have Second Breakfast and PIO. And then we have a double header with Aster Rabbits and Good Boys, and then Milwaukee Bucks versus Nutter Butter Scuttlers. Before we sign off, let's get everybody's most anticipated game. Let's start off with Brian.
You know, if I wasn't on the team, I would say THD versus TSC. They're both up and coming teams, or maybe not up and coming for THD, but like TSC is an up and coming team, and THD has like is a strong team. I think like in terms of quality of gameplay, that might be the best one. But on Thursday, Good Boys and Acid Rabbits are also two potentially top 4 teams. So I also think that'll be a good one. So I guess my pick, because I'm on THD, is the Acid Rabbits GB game on Thursday.
Colin?
I selfishly am going to say MBS versus Milwaukee Bucks, baby. I think that's actually going to be a really close game, and it's a really good proving game for us.
For both teams, I think.
Yeah, for both
Milwaukee
teams, I
Bucks
think it's going to be.
needs
For
get
sure.
themselves off the ground again.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be a really, really good one. Outside of that, I'm really excited for the Student Council versus True Heart Destiny. I think I don't see a world in which True Heart Destiny loses 2 games back to back. But
see.
I'm really excited because the Student Council looks really good.
Yeah,
And
they do.
we'll see if Digital Feeling can carry a
No.
victory.
Damn, did you say nah?
Hmm.
Let's go ahead
Mind if I
and
have
get to
something to say
dance.
about it. I was gonna say MBB NBS. I think Colin made the case for it, and so did Brian, that NBS is in the upswing and MBB is trying to catch themselves from slipping too far. And I think this game is going to be really, really fun to watch all across the map.
Yeah, we tie them in the standings if we win.
Hey, there
Let's
you go.
go.
Colin, who do you think? Wait, did you?
Colin.
Zane.
Zane.
Zane. Oh, sorry.
It's all good,
Longer
buddy.
broadcast. Zane,
So I'm really looking forward to our game. Panic and Oceans, solid team, looking to fight Anne Marie in the bot lane. She's a super solid ADC, so it's going to be a hard fought match. But as far as what I want to watch, I really want to see the good boys versus the Acid Rabbits, and I want to see the good boys just pull out all the stops and rush for the win.
And for the final one, I'm most excited for EXO versus Deep Dive. I want to see if either team really just hits their stride, or we suddenly have a huge bloodbath where they suddenly both hit like their max potential at the same time, and then for the rest of the season just do amazingly well. But all the matches are going to be pretty amazing. I think I wanted to thank Brian, Colin, and Daniel once again for joining us on Bubble Tea Time.
Of course.
Of course.
Glad to be here.
And then I want to thank our special guest, Zane Fire 19 for joining us. And thank you so much for your input and time.
Oh, anytime. Happy to be on. I'll be on whenever you need me. It's just a blast.
And with that, thank you viewers on Twitch for submitting your questions. We may return to some of them. And thank you so much for watching. Until then, see you on the Rift.
Peace out.
Bye.